start putting out the fire once arriving on property?
Look, reviewing the video, there was probably a 3 to 5 minute delay. Again, we had to, we're given one address for a very large complex that spans an entire city block, essentially. And, it spans from McClay to Geiger Street and Front to 2nd. So the Pennsylvania State Police troopers that were there were busy evacuating the governor, his family, and the extended family that were there. So they were not immediately available to point us in the right direction. And because of where the fire was, it wasn't immediately visible from the front of the building where we were at.
And in your entire career, have you ever seen anything like you saw on Sunday morning with that type of attack on the governor's mansion? And what type of impact did that have on you?
So we deal with arson. I've dealt with fire bombings, throughout my career here in Harrisburg. They do happen. They are unfortunate acts. Look, the Molotov cocktail is no different than a gun, right? When I got that Molotov cocktail in my hand, I know at the end of the day, I'm going to create damage, destruction, and probably going through the terrorist's mind was, I want to kill somebody, right? So it's no different than that gun when I'm holding somebody up to steal their money, right? I know what the outcome could potentially be. And I think that's the surreal part of it, that there can be that much hatred pent up in somebody that they're able to take out that anger in such a way. And it is a horrendous way, not only to attack somebody, but God forbid a fatality. Dying in a fire is just an absolute, I can get back to my time just several months ago with the homeless gentleman that died in the fire. The angst and just the terror as he was screaming when I first pulled in on scene before he died was just blood curdling, right? And that's what these folks don't think of at the end of the day.
Chief, how many people were inside that mansion?
I won't comment on that because I believe that's part of PSP's release. I will tell you and can tell you factually, if you listen to the Dauphin County's dispatch, that we were told there could be as many as 25 people inside the mansion. That was our dispatch number. So I feel confident giving that to you as a potential number that was inside.
When you guys got on scene, no one was awake. Everybody was.
They were already beginning the evacuation as we arrived on scene.
Okay, you had one over here. Let's go.
What's your estimate for the cost of the damage?
It's a historic building. It is definitely going to be in the millions, and that's because of the historic nature of the building with the smoke damage that's inside to paintings and artifacts and things like that that are going to have to be professionally cleaned and taken care of.
What prompted the arson investigation? You said you were quick to call police. What did you see that prompted that?
30 years doing this, you quickly are able to start pointing things out. And when things don't look right inside of a building, there's a gut feeling, but there's also a definitive look at things on how fire grows and develops. And when the things that you see don't equal what should have happened in a fire, that's when those arson tentacles start to really pop up. I think if you see if they released a video, you'll see exactly what we're looking at. But as an example, inside the main ballroom, there's one single chair that is totally burned up with nothing else burned around it. And that was the site of one of those Molotov cocktails that was smashed onto the floor that ignited that chair. Outside of where the main body of fire was, and there was no connection to the two of those through the fire growth that was in the other room. If that makes sense.
Was there more than one Molotov cocktail?
Yes, there was. I can't comment on how many, but there was definitely more than one.
And so were there two separate fires?
So there was fire in two separate rooms that are attached, right? They're attached. There's a folding door between them, but that folding door was open because they had just had and celebrated Passover earlier that evening.
Was there anything about the setup in that room? We could see some tables with tablecloths, but was there anything about the setup from that dinner that would have made it more packed with stuff that was easier to burn?
Not really, no. And from a fire growth standpoint, the fuel package, as we call it in the investigation side of things, the fuel package really wasn't that great. There wasn't a lot of, while there was stuff there to burn, it wasn't a great fuel package that would have, really caused us any other concern in any other house, quite honestly.
How long did it take to put the fire out?
We were about 30 minutes till we had, where we felt confident it wasn't spreading anywhere else.
Can you talk about what was in that cocktail that made it
No, I won't, because that'll come out in the investigation. But I believe that the PSP report that was put out yesterday was that he used gasoline from his lawnmower to fill those. So deduct what the PSP released yesterday.
Do you know how quickly the fire spread from
So if you listen to PSP yesterday, it said he was in the house about a minute. And when he got out, he was quickly being overcome by the products of combustion. So he was in and out very quickly, and the fire spread just as quick.
Chief, was the fire department alerted by the alert system in the mansion, or was there a call?
There was a call made from the mansion to Dauphin County Dispatch for the fire.
Who made that call? One of the family members?
I won't comment on that. That should come from PSP. I know I'm being a little cryptic. If this was a city incident, right, and I had my city investigators doing the investigation, I would tell you everything. But because of the nature of our relationship that we've built with PSP, I certainly don't want to sour that with any portion of the investigation from the law enforcement side that I know that I can't share as the fire chief. Just out of respect.
What door did your crews have to go in? How did they physically get into the building?
So when we forced entry into that gate, the very first set of doors on the right-hand side, we went in both that set of doors. There's a second set of doors to the west of that, and there's a large set of doors on the western side of the room. We went into those as well. So those are the two doors that we forced open.
And you had to break in, they were locked, you couldn't...
Correct, yeah, yep.
And could you ever take a fire truck through the gate? Could it fit?
Because of the way everything's laid out. Now that we can through the Front Street side, and that takes a lot because we have to essentially dismantle the gates and the fencing, right, to be able to get in there. So our plan was just long lines, and then if we needed to, we could come in the front as well to put ladder trucks up, and luckily we didn't need any of that. So.
Have you ever done a fire drill at the governor's mansion?
We haven't, no. We've never conducted a fire drill at the governor's mansion. I don't know if that's something that we'll discuss in the future.
Is there a plan for how you would handle a fire?
So, at the end of the day, it's a protected government facility that we're accustomed to dealing with here in Harrisburg, and every fire presents its own challenges, right? And our firemen are very good at overcoming those challenges, and it's exactly what they did the other night.
And you really had to cut the fence because you can't even put the hose over the fence because of the points, right? And you would have to put a hose over?
Right, our guys got to get over the fence as well, so it's easier to go through it than over it, and risk all that going. We can climb it. That is one option, right? You put a ladder up one side, a ladder down the other side, but now we're taking a lot of time putting things in place and now having to climb up, and then, the instability of the ground, it was muddy out. It's just easier to cut things and let them replace it.
Chief, had the door not been closed from the main state dining room where they were celebrating Passover, could the fire have spread further and deeper inside the mansion, putting the governor and his family at risk?
If that door wasn't closed, the fire would have spread and would have definitely put the governor at even greater risk. And it would have rapidly spread down that hallway just based upon the furnishings. Again, looking at the fuel package, what that fuel package looks like in that hallway definitely would have spread rapidly down and up to the main staircase going to the second floor.
Chief, when you got to this scene, you mentioned that the person who entered the building made his way into the residence. Without talking about anything with that, were there any volatile cocktails that you guys found that weren't used on the property that you guys took control over, PSP did?
So we see all the evidence in a fire, and it is our job to preserve it, and that's what we did.
You talked about the suppression system or lack thereof. Is there a reason why there wasn't one? Is that not a requirement for the governor's mansion?
It was not a requirement. So the mansion was built in 1968. So there's actually very little building code requirements in 1968 when the building was built. And I think the frustrating thing for the fire service in Pennsylvania is the International Fire Code and the International Building Code requires and mandates the fire protection be installed in every new structure that is built. However, Pennsylvania has written that out of our code and only requires multifamily housing units to be sprinkled. And that was due to the lobbying effects of the building industry, and quite frankly, their tactics to prevent having to put that fire protection systems inside.
Chief, as the investigation continues, the Pennsylvania State Police investigation, are Harrisburg firefighters going to be involved in providing expertise on the fire specifically?
Not on the fire specifically. We will be, and in fact, it was just before I came out here, I was on the phone with the one investigator. We're working with video footage that we have from our fire trucks to better and further their investigation. And again, that's that cohesiveness that we have working with PSP, knowing what they need, and then making sure we provide that information.
Few questions. You said you were going to release the video footage?
We will put that on the city website,
Okay.
which is harrisburgpa.gov.
Exactly,
Yes.
harrisburgpa.gov.
And
Yep.
what time will that be?
Oh, we don't know that, and we don't know exactly. Probably
Yeah.
later this
Later this afternoon.
afternoon.
Yeah. Yep.
I have one more question. So
Sure.
just to clarify, you came after the state troopers were there, right? The fire department came after?
Right. So the state troopers are on scene on the compound all the time.
Okay. So
They're there
they-
24 hours a day.
And they called the fire department? Or we
Correct.
don't know?
Yes.
They were the ones who
They were the
called
ones that made the 911 call.
it? Okay.
Alrighty, let's give him a break.
All right.
He did
All
well.
good?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
And I promised, who did I promise that, Scott Young, no, I promised somebody I'd talk to you offline here.
Yes.
So, it's you guys.
Thank
So.
you.
All right, thank
Good
you.
job. Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
These trucks, are these the 2 trucks that
Yes,
responded?
these are 2 of the, all of our firemen are there, so.
And did that
How
get called
do you
to
like the
assist?
impromptu
I know,
here? Was this
I
pretty
do,
good?
I do. I'm impressed. That was good.
I'll steal my